Доброго ранку всім, шановні учасники, шановні колеги. Дякуємо за вашу залученість до цього заходу. Мене звати Яна Романюк, я завідуюча відділом імплементації програм ЄС та транскордонного співробітництва Департаменту координації міжнародної технічної допомоги, Секретаріату Кабінету міністрів України. Секретаріат Кабінету міністрів України є національним органом управління програми та національним контактним пунктом. І сьогодні ми у співпраці з програмою Interreg Europe, з командою програми, а саме Крістапс, Магда, Антуан, Владимир, ми проводимо захід сьогодні ексклюзивно для українських учасників, щоб ви могли дізнатися більше про програму і, зокрема, про платформу з вивчення політик. Для тих, хто з нами не так давно, я хочу зазначити ще декілька ключових етапів щодо впровадження програми в Україні, щодо приєднання. Україна приєдналася до програми у 2024 році, і вже тоді наші учасники отримали змогу брати участь у конкурсах проектних пропозицій та співпрацювати із 35 країнами-учасницями. У грудні 2024 року було підписано угоду про фінансування. І з однієї сторони ця програма для нас є новою, але в той же час вже багато українських партнерів з різних регіонів України вже успішно імплементують проекти. А саме за результатами 2 конкурсів програми впроваджується вже більше 40 проєктів з українськими партнерами. Що відбувається наразі? Наразі у червні цього року було завершено всі внутрішньодержавні процедури для набрання чинності угодою про фінансування. І також розпочато управлінські перевірки Національним контролером Держаудитслужбою. Також розпочато процес реєстрації проєктів у Секретаріаті Кабінету міністрів України. І сьогоднішній захід буде цікавий і для тих, хто вже долучений до програми, хто бере участь у проєктах, і для тих, хто ще не реалізує проєкти в рамках цієї програми. Адже ви зможете дізнатися більше про ключові особливості платформи, вивчити досвід організацій, які вже реалізовують проекти, запропонувати свої ідеї чи ознайомитися з кращими практиками. Хочу зазначити, що захід буде відбуватися англійською мовою. Ви матимете змогу задати запитання, будь ласка, використовуйте чат і, будь ласка, задавайте запитання англійською мовою. І також я залишу в чаті ще контакти нашого департаменту і електронні адреси відповідні, щоб ми були з вами на зв'язку. Тому ми можемо зараз перейти вже до порядку денного, який ви бачите на екрані. And I would like to give the floor to Kristaps, yes, Policy Officer Interreg Europe, with the presentation about program features. Please, Kristaps.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can see the presentation. So thanks a lot, Jana, for a brief introduction of why we are here today. Indeed, Ukraine is one of the new members in our program in Interreg Europe since 2024. And we're also happy to be here again. We have done some couple of online events previously with a lot of participants from Ukraine. So we always see that there's a big interest about the program, about the projects, about the platform, about what you can do with our program, how you can participate, etc. So today we're going to be mostly speaking about the possibilities provided by the policy learning platform, which my colleagues Magda and Antoine will mostly take over. But I'm going to provide you a very brief introduction about the program itself, about the projects, about how the program is organized, so that we can then follow mostly about the platform, which is the second pillar of the program, with the first one being the projects. And I'm quite convinced that there are also people here attending that who are already engaged in some of the projects as a partner or discovery partner. So also for you, it's going to be interesting as well. We're not going to be delving deep into the project financial side or practical implementation side. So if ever you have these kind of questions regarding your budget or etc., if you're involved in the project, then please ask your lead partner or the policy or the finance officer. So it's not the aim of today. The aim of today is mostly to get everybody, people engaged in the projects and also people not engaged in the projects, to learn more about the program and mostly learn about the platform and the possibilities that the platform provides to you. And we're going to be doing a very short Q&A questions session after each presentation. And yes, with that, I would like to kick off with the first information, basically. So, where are we? Within the current cohesion policy, there are several Interreg programs, as some of you might know. There are cross-border programs, for example, like Latvia, Estonia, or Poland, Czech Republic, etc., which have, let's say, majority of the funds allocated for the Interreg programs. So these are solving mostly cross-border issues. Then we have transnational programs. We have 13 programs in total, working in different micro regions in Europe. Then we also have specific strand for the outermost regions, so meaning islands mostly. We have several countries who have islands in the oceans. And then Interreg Europe, as a program, belongs to the strand C, interregional, together with Urbact and Interact and ESPON. And together, these four programs, we are having a total budget of 560 million, with Interreg Europe having close to the 400 million euros for this current period, which is 2021-2027. So not the biggest part. And we are also not the program responsible for every other Interreg program. Sometimes people think that because it's Interreg Europe that we are also responsible for Interreg Latvia, Estonia, Interreg France, Germany. It's not the case. These are all separate programs, but we are the only program in all those strands working with all of the Europe, plus, of course, including the new partner states. And what the program is about. The main objective of the program is not to develop infrastructure. We are not there to finance infrastructure. We are not there to fund, let's say, hard investments. So building bridges or developing roads, etc. No, this is a mostly capacity building program. We are here to help policymakers to improve your regional development policies. By regional development policies, we also understand national policies, let's say at the ministerial level or the government level, or it can also be a local level policy at the city level, for example, the city strategy. So definition is quite broad. But the main idea is that we want to see within the projects, European level consortiums, so meaning partnerships, having partners from different parts of Europe, from different countries, from different regions, coming together, let's say 5, 6, 8, 10 organizations together, and learning and sharing the good practices. So things that are working great in your country, in your region, inspirational examples, sharing these things, doing the study visits, learning through online events, workshops, etc., whatever works for different projects. And then through sharing these good practices, through learning, through sharing experiences, then the possibility is to improve the existing policy instruments on the ground. So for example, the city comes in as a partner in the project regarding energy efficiency in your region, and at the end, by learning, you can improve your own energy efficiency strategy in the city, launch a new project with your own funds, or develop a new priority, etc. And the program is primarily dedicated to the policymakers. So this is not the program for the companies. This is not the program for businesses, but to the policymakers. So national, regional, local governments, cities, ministries, agencies, etc. And yes, main beneficiaries. So public authorities, for sure. Also public law bodies. We have agencies like state agencies, regional agencies, universities, research centers also, if the public can be involved in the projects. And also private non-profit bodies. For example, chambers of commerce, associations, cluster organizations. Very important, not private companies. So private company, the business cannot engage in a project. So yes, you can also see a poll here. You can maybe select which one you belong to. So we see maybe an overview of who we have here today. Do we have mostly municipalities, or we have mostly national level, or we have maybe non-governmental organizations? So please take a minute and select your organization so we see an overview. But the main idea is that this is a program for policymakers, for policy improvement. Private companies, they can be engaged in some project activities through the participation in events organized by the policymakers. But again, the program is not giving funds to the private companies. So the poll is running, and I think we can continue. And the program area. So it's a big map of Europe, and we're really happy to see Ukraine as well involved in the program. We don't have United Kingdom anymore, but we see that there's some kind of interest of maybe coming back in the future. But in total, we see that we as a program are covering currently 36 partner states. So all of EU, all 27 countries of the European Union, plus Norway and Switzerland. And we were very happy to involve new countries joining in 2024. So Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Moldova, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Serbia, and of course Ukraine. And this provides you an opportunity to learn from a very, very big geographical area of potential partners and gather knowledge from 36 countries in Europe, and also provide your knowledge, because Ukraine also has a lot of good and very interesting practices that can be parted for other countries in Europe, and this we already see in the current projects. So this is the area of the program. Okay, so the poll is done, and we can see that mostly we have public authorities, so local, so I understand cities, regional and national, central, and some universities as well. So actually quite almost an even distribution. So very interesting distribution of results. Why? Because you're going to see a bit later. So the program scope, and it can be normal that maybe you're not familiar of all the topics of the cohesion policy currently, and also we see that the priorities at the European Union level are changing now. But as a program based on the 2021-27 current framework set out by the European Union, by the Commission, etc., we are covering all areas of the cohesion policy: smart, green, connected, social, citizens, and governance. So that means that under each of these thematic priorities, you can say we have projects specified. So under the smart, normally these are projects dealing with the support for the companies, research and development, also now digitalization, AI is becoming a very big topic here. Everything dealing with development, technologies, digitalization, support for the companies. Under the green, which is our most popular priority. So obviously here we are tackling the green energy, of course, renewable energy, energy efficiency, circular economy, bio part basically, so sustainability as well, climate change adaptation. Under connected, these can be very different projects. It can also be meaning better improvements for connecting to the infrastructure or just in general ensuring the connectivity within the Europe. Social, it is also quite diverse. It's a new priority. Here we're tackling different things from the workforce, from the healthcare, education, also tackling integration of the migrants and the safety of our areas, etc. Citizens and governance, these are smaller priorities, which are maybe not so specific on a specific on a concrete topic, but they're also about citizen engagement and governance. This can be more like horizontal. So, for example, all the project partners are coming together and tackling the public procurement rules from the legal standpoint, not specifying them for the energy or for the infrastructure, etc. And we have Ukrainian partners engaged in projects covering all these priorities. So we have Ukrainian organizations engaged in all of these priorities. As I was saying in the very beginning, so two pillars or two actions of the program: projects and the policy learning platform. So obviously projects is where the most of the funding is going to. So out of the almost 400 million, majority of the funds, they're going to the projects, they're going to you. So projects means that we are funding as a program a limited number of regions collaborating jointly for a certain amount of time to deliver results. So again, this is where the most of the funding is going to. And these are also, of course, competitive because we are launching open calls and there's a competition at European level. And yes, these are competitive calls. But the policy learning platform, which I will tackle very, very lightly because my colleagues are gonna explain it all of it today, is the second pillar of the program, which is exploiting the results of the projects. So all the good practices gathered, all the knowledge, all the expertise gathered within projects is made available to everybody outside of the project. So every organization in Europe, let's say you're in a city in Ukraine and you have never been engaged in Interreg Europe project, you can still access the platform, you can still use the services provided by the platform, funded by the program, you can still access all the knowledge, the policy papers, etc., provided by the platform. So this is the second pillar of the program, which is very unique to us. And this is where I'm gonna stop my talk about the platform because it's gonna be explained in detail to you later. Talking about the projects, again, the main idea is to find inspiration to learn in a consortia, in the partnerships on a specific topic. So for example, a project is tackling digitalization of public infrastructure, AI integration in the public sector. This is the project, what the project is about. All the countries engaged in the project, let's say 8 countries are learning together. And then at the end, they are improving their own strategies, integrating the better AI in their own public sector, etc. And all projects are running for 4 years. So, and all projects are running for 4 years in 2 phases. Core phase, 3 years, and a follow-up phase, 1 year. So the core phase is the phase where you are learning. Where you're learning, you are organizing experience exchange trips, workshops, online physical workshops. You're also working with your local stakeholders. You can organize events in your local region, sharing the knowledge with your own companies, other cities, etc. By the end of the core phase, we want to see the policy instruments improved. So for example, you were coming into the city with your own digitalization strategy. By the end of the core phase, you're ready to, let's say, add a new priority to your strategy based on things you learned. And in a follow-up, which is only 1 year, this is mostly dedicated to monitoring how these new changes, for example, this new priority, how it is working in real life. What additional benefits has it generated? So this is a very light one. So really it's 3 years of quite intense working and learning, with 1 year being a bit lighter, where you're mostly monitoring how you've been able to influence your policy instruments, how you've been able to implement some stuff on the ground and improve your policies. And this is standard for all the projects. And the average budget for the project is around 1.5 million euros for 4 years for the partnership. And yes, we have 262 approved projects, and no further calls are planned in this period, so 2021-27. In the current program, we have no more money to give to you to the projects. It's all been spent. Basically, it's allocated. So we had 3 calls already, where Ukrainian partners also were able to participate, and you're going to see in the next graph. So we have 262 projects running at the same time. Some projects started earlier, the first call, some projects started just now. We have all the countries covered. We have almost close to 2,500 project partners. And you can see the distribution, that the green priority, so the energy efficiency, clean energy, energy security, circular economy, this is the most important and most popular one, with the smart one also being quite popular, and the social as well. So green, smart, and social topics are what we see of the biggest interest to the European partners. About the future after this current period, we yet don't know because we are just seeing the Commission launching new proposals for the next multi funding period. And you can see Ukraine here. Quite a good result after just joining within 1 year, because this program is for many years been really heavy focused on Spain and Italy, because we have very active partners from Spain and Italy. Poland, as you can see, has really caught up. Poland is really as well quite interested. Greece, Romania, but you can see Ukraine after just joining you already passed some other countries like Bulgaria, Denmark, Czech Republic, etc., Estonia. So we see quite good results, and we obviously know that Ukraine is a very big country. You have a lot of authorities, so there's a lot of potential for you as well to be engaged. But yes, this is where you can see the distribution of project partners by the countries and running projects in Ukraine. So we have 56 project partners from Ukraine engaged in 51 projects, either as a full partner with a budget, just as everybody else, or as a discovery partner with a lighter role, also a budget, but it's a bit easier access. And here we see quite a big dominance of local public authorities, because here today in the audience we see quite a mix, but in the project we see the local public authorities, so the cities are being the most active ones. And also you can see this is the same almost distribution as in total. So we have majority of you coming for the green priority, also smart and social. So yes, and to finish my part of the presentation, just a few project examples where Ukraine is also engaged in. We cannot show all of you today, and this is not the name, but for example, we have Ivano-Frankivsk City Council engaged in the health cities. This is a project under the smart priority dealing with the technology development on the healthcare. So it's a bit health on the technology side, so startups in the healthcare, etc. So there's also that aspect under the smart. We have Lviv agglomeration in the Embracer. We have Zatopil city and Kharkiv in Future Echoes, Poltava in Eurodapt, Odessa in Safe Skills. Safe Skills is a very interesting project. This is dealing about, this is on a social priority, dealing with the topic of having increased access to the workforce and in the security sector and civil security sector, in cybersecurity, etc. So also we said there's a big interest here as well. Lviv city is engaged in a project about urban development. Eurodapt is about climate change. So you see Embracer and Future Echoes is dealing about the urban areas and housing, and the topics are very diverse. The main idea of the slide is to show the topics are very diverse, and you can find your ways in each of those. But again, these are all the running projects. But regarding the platform, we want to engage mostly organizations not engaged in the projects, because already those who are engaged in the projects, you are already benefiting. You already receive the funds. You already are, let's say, in the framework in the mix. But I think the rest of the presentation today is going to be mostly aimed at the organizations not engaged in the projects, organizations new to Interreg Europe, let's say a city, region, etc., that still wants to learn, that still wants to develop their capacities, still wants to be engaged in Interreg Europe, but from the, let's say, other door, from the door of the platform. With that, I will finish my brief introduction of the program itself, of the project side, and we can have some questions before we go to Magda, and she's going to explain to you all the basics about the platform and what that second pillar is. So how do we work with the questions?
Thank you, Kristaps. So looking at the chat, there is one question that you partly answered through the presentation on the number of applicants joining the partnerships, the projects. And the second part of Tatiana's question was about the acceptance rate for Ukrainian partners in the projects. I don't know if we have these statistics. How many? What was the success rate of Ukrainian applicants?
I don't think I mean, probably if we dig deeper on and we ask our AI, etc., we can get these specific data for Ukrainian applicants. In general, what I can tell, the program is very, very accessible compared to other programs in Europe, especially compared to, let's say, Horizon Europe, which is the research program, etc. So the success rate in general is very, very high. I don't remember the specific number, but this is not, I mean, this is a competitive program. But at the same time, this is not a program that's very, very exclusive, that you have to have very big experience, previous experience in European projects to get into it. Because we have a lot of standardized things. This is standardized for the policymakers. We have prerequisites. This is not about the research. This is not about the state of the art. This is for the policymakers. And we also want to have newcomers. And we also want to have smaller cities, smaller regions from outermost regions as well. So yes, Magda said 1 out of 2 projects succeeded. roughly. So if you're a bit familiar with, let's say, European programs, this is extremely good success rate, and we are very proud of it, because we also, as a program, we are doing a lot of assistance to you. When we have the calls, we are assisting you. We are, let's say, providing feedback to your project ideas, etc. So we want to see projects succeed. We don't want to be very exclusive, and that also meant that we had a lot of incoming applications, especially in the last third call, where the competition was a bit higher, of course, but still the success rate was high.
Thank you, Kristaps. We have some more questions.
Yeah.
One about a next call going to happen after 2027. So, and another one is more specific for the Kharkiv region, whether there is only the city of Zlatopil involved, as indicated on the slide, or not. So I can you can maybe take the first one about the next calls, and then about Kharkiv, I just also shared the link of all Ukrainian partners
Yeah.
involved in projects.
So just to clarify again, I will answer the second question first, if I understand correctly. It can be regional authority, or it can be a city, or it can be even the two authorities. Depends on the policy instrument addressed. So if the policy instrument addressed by the project, in this case, for example, is a Kharkiv regional strategy, then of course it's regional authority coming as a partner. If it's a city coming in, they are addressing their own policy instrument that they have control of. Let's say city strategy. So it depends. It can be either. It depends on the project. It depends on the partnership, etc. If I understood the question correctly. Regarding the calls, as I said, we have currently spent all the funds available for the projects. I mean, not spent, but we have been committed. So we have already 276 projects running. So there is no more available funds for additional call in this period. So the only available, let's say, support to you is the platform, which is a separate strand of the program, but no more calls for the projects. As for the future calls after 2027, it depends on the future of the program. It depends on the future of the cohesion policy in Europe. As some of you might know, just recently, the Commission launched a new proposal for the future multi-annual funding instrument, so the future 7-year budget. The priorities are quite different. There's a lot of, let's say, new things proposed, also regarding the cohesion policy, also regarding the programs, support programs, etc. This is going to be discussed between the Commission and the European Parliament, between the member states. Member states are going to send in their proposals. We are in this, let's say, funny season of the European budget planning. So we also don't know currently the future of our program in terms of how much funds are we going to have, how much money we'll be able to allocate the next years, etc. So we have to wait. We have to wait for a while before we can give you any specific answer. Currently, we're running our existing program, 2021-27. We are implementing all our projects. We are finalizing all our projects. Some of the projects started just now, so they're going to be finalized even after 2027, because again, 4-year projects. A platform is still available. Platform is running, and it's going to be running also for the future years. So these are the services available to you, but I cannot promise you anything regarding any future calls currently for, let's say, next 2-3 years.
Thank you. I think this also maybe answers Oleksi's and well Tatiana's question about newly submitted applications and partners joining existing projects or discovery partners, because Oleksi, for instance, was asking whether it's possible to he assumed that the call for partners is now over, but could they still join as discovery partners?
We had a restricted call for the discovery partner integration. So there was an opportunity for the program for the organizations to join already running projects. So that call is done. That was done before the third call, and in the third call, it was fully available to every Ukrainian organization to come in as a full partner or as a discovery partner, but also come in as a full partner as a priority, because we also always wanted to see new country participants coming in as a full partners. So again, We are not speaking about any existing future calls for discovery partners or project partners at this stage. Yes, and the third call process, they are just beginning. They're just beginning. We just recently closed the conditions phase with them. They're gonna receive support training from us regarding implementation in end of September. So these are completely new projects that have just started working together, where we see also a majority of Ukrainian partners coming in.
Thank you, Kristaps. Yes, I don't know if Yana maybe knows about the Kharkiv case, whether there is involvement there, but in any case, you also have the list of the partners involved in current projects in the chat. I think there is no more question. Maybe just one that you already answered before about support of experience exchange versus support of equipment to purchase equipment. So you answered it, but just maybe as a reminder, whether
again,
the project support exchange of good practices or also equipment purchase.
On a very limited scale. I mean, you can have a very small amount of funds for basic equipment like the office equipment, computers, etc. If you put it as a budget line, it's very small amount. And in some projects, we also have pilot actions. And in pilot actions, you can do a bit of more activity. You can do some equipment, but it's also very limited. The pilot action average is like 75,000 euros. So we can have a small pilot action where you're testing installation of, let's say, one solar panel in the public sector, etc. So there can be some equipment purchases there. We just approved some project pilots for the first call projects. For example, they're testing waste sorting in the school, one school, so the purchasing waste sorting bins for one school, etc. But again, this is limited to the pilot actions mostly, and this is a very small amount of the total budget. Majority of the budget within the project, they go to the staff costs, so covering your daily costs, engagement for the stakeholders, travel costs, or organization of workshops, and basically all these kind of soft, you could say, activities for experience exchange. So this is not a program for investments. This is not a program for construction. This is not a program for building. This is not a program that provides direct support to the companies. This is a program to support policy makers, so mostly regional, local, national, public authorities, to learn and to improve your policy instruments. As I was saying, today we are mostly dedicating this session to the platform. And with that, I think if we still have some burning questions about the projects, we can answer them later because we're going to have all the list of the questions available. But I think in order to keep up with the agenda, I should give floor to Magda and Antoine to go with the platform.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I will share my presentation. Is it okay for everybody? Yes. Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm very glad to see such a high participation. We have almost 300 people, and I would like really to thank everybody that joined us today, and especially, of course, the Ministry for giving us the opportunity for this event. Kristaps announced some bad news, let's say, that there are no more funds for projects, but I can now announce very good news because we have the policy learning platform that offers you plenty of policy learning opportunities and services. In this section, I will walk you through these core services and how you can benefit from that. We'll talk about what is it, who is it for, and how it offers possibilities for policymakers just like you to benefit from these services. But before we go into all these details, I would like just to say a few words about the why. Why the program decided to launch such a strategic initiative as the policy learning platform. Kristaps showed you that we finance traditionally we finance projects. So indeed, we usually through the programming periods, we finance more than 200 projects. So we gather more than 2,000 people that are working and improving their policies. They are achieving results. They have policy improvements. They identify and transfer good practices. So we have actually a big treasure. And sitting on this treasure, we wanted to exploit it further, and we wanted to make it available for any region beyond the project partnerships to benefit from that. So the policy learning platform primarily builds on the results of the projects, on the good practices that have been identified, and of course the networks, the people, the practitioners that are participating in the project partnerships. And we exploit all this and we make it available to everybody that is interested. So let's break it down. Who is it for? Anyone interested. It's open for everybody that is interested in regional policies. What does it offer? It offers concretely policy solutions and expert advice. And why should you use it? Simply because you can grow your knowledge, you expand your network, and you can get free and quick expertise. What makes us unique? Yet another platform, you would say. There are a lot of platforms out there from European initiatives, but what makes us unique is our team of dedicated experts. We have commissioned at program level almost 2021 thematic experts that they have long experience in all these policy objectives that we are covering from cohesion policy, and they are the ones that are implementing all the activities of the policy learning platform. It's not another chatbot. It's not another artificial intelligence tool. It's real human intelligence behind it that makes all the services guarantee the quality, guarantee the relevance, the trust that you can have on all the activities that we are doing. So let's see exactly what the platform is. In a nutshell, it's a capacity building tool, which is offered for any policymaker in around Europe, all the eligible countries that are partners in our program. We are basically offering, we call it services. We are offering access to knowledge through a plethora of policy solutions. We are offering access to people. We have a very powerful community, and we are offering access to expertise through targeted expert support advices. This is in a nutshell, but we are going to dive now in to see a little bit more in details what does this mean. Of course, disclaimer, I want again to say the platform is not a funding mechanism. It's about capacity building. What do we mean when we say access to knowledge and policy solutions? On your screen, you see a screenshot of how the menu on our website looks like. And we have there a section which is called Policy Solutions. When you go there, you will find a database of good practices, which gathers more than 3,500 good practices from all around the countries. We have more than 100 policy briefs, more than 100 stories, success stories and good examples, and more than 100 thematic webinar recordings. It's such a rich and ever-evolving, I would say, resource of inspiration, all of this. And let's dive again more specifically to see what we mean about all these different policy solutions and resources. We are talking about 3,500 good practices. I think it's important to say that in the context of our program, a good practice is an initiative that is related to regional policies, and it has proven successful. That means it has tangible and measurable results in one region and can be of interest in another region. I have an example here that comes from Ukraine. We have the NGO of Danube, a Carpathian program that is participating in REWET project, and they have submitted a good practice about restoring the wet meadows in Narcisi Valley, which is basically a critical biodiversity hotspot in Ukraine. And they worked on restoring the wet meadows. So you will find, when you click on these good practices, a detailed description on what is it about, how they worked on the restoration. You will find the resources that were needed, human resources, technical capacity, technical equipment. You will find the evidence of success, how this improved the climate change mitigation, how the vegetation has increased after the intervention. And most importantly, you will find the potential for the learning or the transfer. You have already the expert from the policy learning platform that look on all this information, and they depict the specific features, this learning potential, and write it in a short opinion, which gives you a distillation of why this is a good practice, why is it considered successful, and how can someone else benefit from it. It looks like this, the good practice database. When you go on our website, you will land in a page where you have a map, and you will be able to filter all these good practices, either with keyword, either with a topic specific on the policy objective or the specific thematic objective that they deal with, the country, the programming period, if it belongs in this programming period or it comes from the previous programming period. You will be able to filter by the project or even the implementation level. Is it national, central level, regional or local level, the implementation of the good practice? What is important to say is that this is not just random information. As I said, it is expert validated. So we make sure that everything that we put there is well evidenced. And we know, as it is submitted by the regions, that this has been tested by the regions. So it is handmade solutions that we have there. It's also important to say that it's not just a good practice database, because you can also contact the people actually that worked on the good practice. So you have basically a direct line to what really works. So it is somehow also a database of practitioners. So quite a useful tool for you to explore. We talked also for other policy solutions. Our experts will look on all these results that our projects produce. They will analyze it and they will unpack it in very clear, actionable insights in a policy brief. I put on the screen just two examples, the one on citizen engagement and the other on digital transformation of public services. There are 20 pages in-depth analysis where you will see the EU trends, the main challenges that the regions face in these topics, and some policy recommendations and conclusions and resources how you can tackle the challenges. So it's again a very interesting, insightful publication where you can find solutions in policy challenges. We also, however, have a shorter version, stories. This is much shorter. It's just successful examples that we get mainly from good practices from our projects, is the real life of our projects. For example, I put on the screen the story about how 3 individuals, they have built up their digital skills through various local initiatives, or how you can deal with the loneliness and social connections, different solutions that the Notre project found on this. So there are short examples of successful stories that can provide you with quite important inspiration, starting digging for more information on policy challenges that you're facing. But maybe you have a different way of learning. You don't like so much reading, you prefer participating in events, online events, or even watch these webinars afterward at your own pace. We do have almost monthly thematic webinars where we bring practitioners from our projects and beyond, and we talk about policy challenges and possible solutions. These are short online events, 1.5 hours, and then everything, all the recordings are available under the section of policy solutions. You can find them and watch them at your own time. I put again some examples there in your screen about integrating walking habits in the transport policy, about supporting SMEs in adapting and implementing environmental, social, and governance. But there are hundreds of other webinars that are available for you to discover. I think I concluded on the first pillar, which is knowledge, access to policy solution, And now I would like to talk a little bit about the second pillar, which is about our community. It is about people, networks, practitioners. I have here a screenshot again from how it looks like on our website. But of course, it's much more beyond what is there in the website. However, it's interesting because you see some very impressive figures there. You see 15,000 organizations. You see more than 22,000 members. All these are policymakers, are public authorities, are regional, local, national authorities, are practitioners, are universities, agencies, NGOs, all are involved in policymaking just like you. It's very interesting for you to connect, to register in our community, because it gives you the opportunity to connect with other like-minded people, to expand your network, grow your knowledge. So do not miss out of this opportunity. And of course, we don't just have this community there, the people registering, but our experts from the platform. They are organizing very regularly events in order to animate this community. I mentioned before that we have monthly thematic webinars. You can find, when you go online, a calendar where you can filter with the word of platform, and under all topics, you will find all the upcoming events. As I said, monthly there are thematic webinars where if you are not available, you can always catch up and see the recordings afterwards. But we also organize in-person workshops, thematic workshops. This is happening twice a year. We mainly bring in the project partners, but it's also open to other knowledge givers, EU institutions, relevant thematic networks. Vladimir will also present you the upcoming opportunity of such an event. And especially for the new countries, we have designed capacity building events. We have already had 2 capacity building events, and there will be one coming up for Ukraine. The capacity building events, they are a little bit different from the thematic workshops because we try to do as it announced, to help the new countries build their capacity, catch up with the requirements and the standards. So we bring in selected good practices and practitioners, and we work with the participants to, in a fast track, to improve their capacities through more knowledge. We also have, upon demand, some online discussions. There are short discussions when we have a thematic workshop or a capacity building event and a group of participants would like to go deeper on a topic. Then we are flexible. That's the beauty of the platform. We can organize a short online discussion. It's a closed, small group, which can continue and go deeper on a specific good practice, on a specific result, on a policy change that they would like to know more. So you're very much welcome to look at all the upcoming events and participate in what we are organizing. I have also picked a video from the last, in 2023, we have organized an event which brought different thematic areas together. And this is something that we will repeat about policies for people and places in Amsterdam later in autumn. But I would like to share this video with you because it gives you a flavor of what happens during these thematic workshops on site. So I will stop sharing my screen and I'll ask then, right. I hope you enjoyed the video. You must have seen that it's not just sitting in a room and following presentations. We try to make these events as an experience. We are visiting the city, so we have study visits to see how the policies are implemented on the ground. So I hope we created a bit of appetite for you to join us in our next event that will happen in Amsterdam in this autumn. Before I give the floor to Antoine, I would still like to say a few words for the most important pillar of our policy learning platform, which is the access to expertise and expert support. This is to answer your specific needs to a specific policy challenge that you have. Our experts, they operate a policy help desk. Anyone can ask any type of question which is related to regional policy making, and you will get a quick answer with a lot of resources on that. But we also organize what we call matchmaking and peer reviews. The experts organize and facilitate this kind of activities. Basically, you will be able to team up with selected peers from other countries, and you will dive in discussing your specific challenge and finding specific policy recommendations and solutions to your specific challenge. The matchmakings are short and more focused. We are going very much into the specific challenge that you have, but it only lasts 2 hours. While the peer reviews, it's again the same philosophy. It's longer, but it's much more demanding. It lasts for 2 days. I think I would like to conclude here by saying that the policy learning platform can offer really a fast track to policy solutions through this curated knowledge that we have, through the active community and powerful big community, and of course, through the direct access to expertise that we are offering. So I will leave it here because Antoine will dive into this pillar and explain very much in detail how you can benefit from these 3 services. But before we go there, I think it's nice that we take some questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you, Magda. I see no specific questions on your presentation. There was one from Oleksiy that Kristaps answered about the possibility or not actually to join current running projects, which is unfortunately no longer possible. But otherwise, I don't see any other questions in the chat on the on this part of the presentation. So I don't know if someone wants to, if you want to add something or not.
Of course, we will have the opportunity again for questions after Antoine to dive in more on specific elements that you would like to know about the platform. So maybe we can advance with the presentations and we have more time for questions at the end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Can you all hear me and see my presentation? I guess so. Okay, super. So, Доброго дня to everybody. My name is Antoine. I am thematic manager at the policy learning platform of Interreg Europe. And Magda very briefly touched upon our expert support services. And I would like to propose is to go through each of them one by one to really dive into the details, how you can benefit from them, how you can access them, etc. So we have 3, the policy help desk, the matchmaking session, and the peer review. So if we start with the policy help desk, Magda mentioned it's a very quick and practical way for you to get written policy advice. We presented all of the resources from the program, from the platform, the good practices, the different publications, the event recording, etc. So in case if you ever find yourself a bit lost within this and you would like some very specific resource on some very specific topic, well, you don't have to navigate through all of this. You have this form on our website. You put your name, you put what you're looking for, and within a very short period of time, you get a fully fledged email with exactly what you're looking for. So let's say my name is Anastasia. I'm looking for some good practices when it comes to energy efficiency and renovating buildings. Can you support me? My name is Bogdan. I missed this webinar, which I really wanted to attend, but do you have the recording available? It's also something we can do. Finally, my name is Jana, and I know that this particular region is Europe is really a front runner when it comes to artificial intelligence. Can you put me in contact with them? Well, for each of this situation, very simple. You write us an email and you get a very quick answer. Couple of examples here accessible on our website. There are many more. I encourage you to check. But basically, this is really your entry door to Interreg Europe and to all of the resources that the program has to offer. I know we received some requests from some Ukrainian city. The city of Berezan was interested in energy efficiency. The city of Lviv was interested in good practices on sustainable urban mobility. And every time we managed to provide them quickly and practically some written policy advice. That is, all in all, the policy help desk, easy, fast, efficient. The second expert service that we have are the matchmaking session. Maybe before I dive into it, I want to clarify also, seeing some of the question in the chat, the name may be misleading. This has nothing to do with Interreg Europe projects. We will not match you to join any Interreg Europe project. This is a purely policy learning platform activity. So why the name matchmaking? Well, you are a public authority and you are looking for some feedback on your current policy. And what we will do through the matchmaking is we will identify what we call peers from other regions in Europe and match you with these 2-3 regions, cities, to organize a meeting to support you in your policy challenge. So how does it work very concretely? Well, you can see again here, you have a very light form. You request your matchmaking. So how do you do that? You explain very briefly your policy challenge. Let's say you are preparing to update your sustainable urban mobility plan, and you would like some feedback from other regions who have done so. Well, you explain this, and what we will do is our team of experts will identify from our community. So we have 20,000 policymakers across Europe, people from regions who have been facing the very same challenge and who have provided a solution in their own region, in their own city. So for 2 hours, basically, they will meet with you, they will exchange with you, and you will also have to have a fully fledged discussion. So before the meeting, well, they will arrive in the meeting already briefed, then they will know exactly what you're looking for, and they will have prepared a short presentation sharing their own experience on your policy challenge. This is how they dealt with it in their own regions. They will share some good practices for you to get inspired from. Sometimes they can also share bad practices for you to avoid repeating the same mistakes that they did and save some precious time. And the second part of the meeting is for you together to co-create policy recommendations. These recommendations will be targeted to your very specific territorial context. And at the end of these 2-hour matchmaking session, you will be left with a report of concrete recommendations. So maybe I can give you a couple of examples that we have organized last year from Ukraine. We were approached by the Boyarka City Council, and their policy challenge was to promote digital literacy among their local population. So not only the youth, but also the elderly. They also wanted to engage with some war veterans. So we identified peers from Croatia, from Romania, from Slovenia. So people who also experienced the same challenge. And you can see here a few recommendations which we have listed. The full report is also available on our website, but if you take a quick look, you can see that the targeted recommendations are dealing with, first of all, the preparation stage of this strategy, digital strategy. They are also listing some very concrete initial steps with pilot actions. And finally, they're also ensuring that the strategy is sustainable in the long term with a sound funding model and a communication campaign to ensure that there is support from the citizen. A second example I'd like to share with you is a matchmaking session we organized for the city of Lviv. What they wanted, what they were looking after was some support when it comes to urban development, to be sure that their urban development projects are aligned with European standards. Again, same process. We identified peers from our community. There was one Slovenian from a public-private partnership center, and there was also a couple of municipality from Poland, from Romania, who faced similar challenges. Again, you can see here that the peers recommended a very particular model, so the BTO model. Again, I will not dive into the specific, but this model would make a lot of sense, in particular for the Lviv territorial context. They also provided recommendations on the best way to attract private partners, to build trust among the stakeholders, etc. So I would encourage you to check the reports. There are many different topics, so you can also navigate through all of these. And if you're not finding what you're looking for, you can always drop us a help desk request. So to conclude on the matchmakings, I would say that they are a great way for you to get a quick and efficient exchange with peers and to receive targeted recommendations. Last but not least, we have the peer review service. For this one, it's a rather similar idea. We call it sometimes the big brother of the matchmaking, and the idea is very similar. You get tailored advice on a policy challenge through an exchange with peers. The difference is it's not 2 hours, it's 2 days. And of course, as a result, this service is for more mature, for more elaborated needs. And as a result, the process, as you can see from this slide, is more lengthy with 4 different steps. So very briefly, step 1, application. You submit your request. Only this time, you need to fill in an application form. Step 2, we recruit the peers. To help us do that, we also ask you to provide and to create what we call a background paper. So this is a 10-15 page document where you explain into more details your territorial context, your policy challenge, and this also helps us to find really targeted peers. Step 3, well, this is the big 2 days. This is the peer review. Primarily, it would take place in an online format in your case. And last but not least, we have the follow-up step, the last one, to make sure that the recommendations which have been provided to you are really useful. So usually we ask you for a report to check on what has been achieved, what has worked, what has not worked. And there's an exchange with the beneficiary. Sometimes upon demand, we also offer the possibility to have an on-site follow-up meeting with the peers, depending on your situation. So if you compare it with the matchmaking and the help desk, you can see that this is a more demanding procedure, but it is also a more comprehensive support. Again, a couple of examples. I think this one I selected because on the topic, I think it could be very interesting for you. We were approached last year, and we organized earlier this year a big peer review, we'd call it mega peer review. We were approached by a region in Poland, Warmińsko-Mazurski, and this region is bordering Russia, and they wanted to deal with what they called the new normal, the situation following the war of aggression. This had a lot of consequences on their particular region, depopulation, collapse of the tourism industry, decrease of the business, etc. And over the preparation phase, we realized that this was a situation which was shared by many different regions and countries who were also bordering Russia. So this is why we decided to put together kind of a mega peer review with 19 public authorities, so from Norway and Finland in the north to the Baltic states, some Polish regions as well, and they provided recommendations. So if you want to know more about this initiative, again, the report is available on our website, and I encourage you to check it. Second example is of an online peer review. There are several cases where the peer reviews that we organize are online. It started with the COVID, where it was not possible to travel, but we kept it in cases where it's challenging for some beneficiaries to travel. So in the case of Ukraine, this would apply, but also, and this is the case, for outermost region. The beneficiary of this particular peer review, indeed, was a French island called La Réunion, which is located in the middle of the Indian Ocean. So this is why the online format was preferred. Their situation was they just organized a big public consultation on the mobility policy that they wanted to develop in the island, and they received more than 10,000 contributions from their citizens. So they reached out to the policy learning platform to request support from other European regions to help them design the future mobility policy, taking into account all of these feedback. So as a result, we applied the procedure. We find peers from other islands from European countries. So we have the Azores and Madeira from Portugal. We had several islands from Greece and Spain, but also some peers where the terrain was also challenging comparable to La Réunion. And as a result, you can see a few recommendations listed here. Full report, again, available. Now, when it comes to Ukraine, I would say the situation is, of course, very unique for different reasons. One of them is the difficulty for Ukrainian beneficiaries and policymakers to travel. But I would also say in terms of capacity, as demand is extremely high, which is a great thing, and which is something we're always very happy to see. Give you an example, usually for this info session we organized in different partner states. We usually have most of the time less than 100 people. And here today it's more than 250. So this is very great to see, but this also means that we have to adapt. So I would like to clarify a few things with you to make sure we manage expectation. So who is eligible for a peer review? Magda and Kristaps mentioned earlier that the policy learning platform is open to everybody. Whether you're a public authority or not, whether you're part of a project or not, you can access our resources. However, when it comes to the peer review, this is only for public authorities who are not in Interreg Europe projects. The reasoning is simple. We consider that if you are part of an Interreg Europe project, you are already benefiting from a peer exchange through your partnership. Second point is considering the difficulty to travel. We would really recommend to have an online format. This is something we organized in the past, which works very fine. We also offer some interpretation if it is needed, meaning that you can present, you can share, you can talk in Ukrainian. We will identify peers who will speak in English, and you would still be able to have a conversation thanks to interpretation. Third point, before you apply to a peer review, we would ask you to book a private consultation with the platform staff. Why? To have really a discussion to hear your request, to understand it, understand what it means, and to really, based on this discussion, determine the best format for you. So in order to do this, for you to book this consultation, after the meeting, we will share a link with you where you will be able to do so. To also give you a more concrete example of the type of information we expect to see in the application, here you can also find a template which will make it a little more concrete and specific to you. Then Magda mentioned the capacity building events we would like to organize. At the end of the meeting, we'll also launch a survey to kind of try to determine where your interests lie when it comes to topics that we will offer. And the idea is that the topics which is the most popular among you throughout the survey will be tackled through a capacity building event. And final point I would like to make is a small disclaimer. Unfortunately, our resources are not infinite. So to give you an idea, we usually organize about 30 peer reviews per year. And that is for all of the 36 partner states. So if you decide to go for a peer review, the first come, first serve principle shall apply. I will conclude with this one slide, which I like to present because it's very visual. And it also shows that these services are something we have been organizing successfully over the years. We receive a lot of interest from European regions and cities. We receive a lot of demand, both for peer reviews, but also for matchmakings. And I have presented these services in a way that you can benefit from them. But I would also like to turn the table and also say that if you are experienced in a particular topic, if you see that we have a call for peers, which is published on our website for an upcoming matchmaking or a peer review, well, you also have the opportunity and the possibility to contribute and to become a peer yourself. So all in all, I would say to conclude is that we have a lot of resource here in Interreg Europe at the policy learning platform at the program level that we really want to make accessible to you. There are different levels of services, but when it comes to expert support, we offer a consultation possibility to guide you through the best format. And maybe before we close and we actually open for some questions, indeed, there is a small poll we just launched. It should appear on your screen. And given all of the services which I have presented, but what Magda also presented, so access to knowledge through the different publications, the use of the good practice database, the different access to people with the webinars, the policy learning events, the capacity building events, or access to expertise, the help desks, the matchmaking sessions, and the peer reviews. which one is your favorite? Which one do you think you will be able to use? And here you can select not only one, but several, depending on your particular situation. So maybe I leave you 30 seconds to reply to it, and then Petra, when you think it's good, you close and we have a look at the results together and open for questions.
Also, in the meantime, if you filled in the poll, you can also submit your questions in the chat if you have some more specific questions about the services provided by the policy learning platform or the different resources that you can find on our website, or a direct request to the experts, to the thematic experts who were presented a few moments ago.
So very interesting, quite again well distributed. I think we have a winner with the good practice. No, the actual thematic webinar. But overall, we see that the good practice database is very popular. I mean, I think it also shows that you are quite versatile and you are keen on using all of what the program can offer, which is really great to see. So thanks a lot for your contribution and your participation to the poll. If you have any questions on the expert support services, but also on the other services, we're here for you.
So I see no questions regarding this. I think for the other programs that that were mentioned, we have you have the email addresses in the chat, and you can also submit your help desk requests. You can also submit them in Ukrainian, which will ensure to translate them. So we'll communicate officially in English, but you can indeed submit them in Ukrainian, if I'm correct, Antoine.
And also today, meaning that if you have questions right now, but English is not the best, the most comfortable for you, feel free to write them in Ukrainian, and we can also take them. We have some people here who will be able to support us with the translation, and we can provide you already at this stage a reply.
If I may,
No
colleagues,
further.
just to clarify that the help desk is operating in English. So in reality, on our website, we cannot submit in a different language, unfortunately. But today we are here for you, and we have the Ukrainian representatives. So if you feel uncomfortable with English, you can also submit your questions in Ukrainian. And we will ask the colleagues from the ministry to translate for us.
Indeed. Sorry for the confusion. If you have some questions, please submit them also in Ukrainian. We have one question from Daria about a recommendation on how to approach the experts when you're a beginner. So for the first time, how would you approach the experts?
Thanks, Daria, for the questions. I mentioned that we would organize some consultations with the staff from the platform. So I think this could be a great opportunity for you to share what is your situation, what you're looking for. And based on our chats, then we can direct you to the most suitable expert support service that will be very efficient and relevant to you. So like I said, after this meeting, we will send you an email, and this email will also include a link where you will have the opportunity to book your bilateral consultation with somebody from the platform to discuss this and then go for one or the other expert support service.
I see no further question. So I don't know if no other question. Maybe I can take it up and have some last words also about the upcoming activities of the policy learning platform. So I will just share my screen and yes, so should be fine now. Indeed. So as you've heard from Kristaps, Magda, and Antoine, we will, besides the services, the tailored services that you can request, we also do have some events that we plan throughout the year. We have some webinars upcoming in September. So we will be online on the 16th of September already. As you can see here, there are 3 topics that are more or less connected. We will have a series of webinars on rural areas and towns. So there will be a 3rd webinar as well on this topic a bit later. As a reminder, the webinars are open to anyone from the community. So you just have to create an account on the Interreg Europe website, and you can access all the webinars. You can register and access all the webinars. These webinars indeed are also recorded, and you can find the presentations of each speaker as well as the full recording in the article that follows. Generally a week after the event, we also have these recordings available on the website in case you missed it. So feel free to join them. This is also a good opportunity to exchange with other members of the community, to ask questions, to search for inspiring examples and practices from project partners that will be presenting their recommendations and practices. So every time there are about 2 to 3 presentations generally to which you can take inspiration from. On top of the webinars, we also have other events in the fall. So we have actually a session at this year's European Regions, EU Regions Week, Regions and Cities Week to be precise, which will take place from 13th till 15th of October in Brussels. This is a large gathering, annual gathering organized by the Committee of the Regions and the DG Regio of the European Commission. This year we will have a session on digitalization of Ukraine with the Ministry of Digital Transformation. We'll have half an hour to discuss the DIA app, especially. So if you're in the capacity of traveling to Brussels, you're welcome to register to the EU Regions Week and meet like-minded colleagues from across Europe. We will also have 3 thematic workshops which will take place simultaneously in Amsterdam. So this is an on-site event which we fully organize. The topics are being finalized, but they will be on the smart, the social, and the citizens policy objectives. We will very soon launch the registrations on the website. So feel free to look at the upcoming events to find the registration links for the workshops in Amsterdam. Also, it was mentioned a bit by Magda, we have capacity building events which are on common issues, so on shared issues for several public authorities in a given country. And these capacity buildings are taking place for new partner states especially. So as you can see, we'll have one on the 7th of October in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which faces major flood issues every year. So we'll be there on flood preventions through especially nature-based solutions with Bosnian stakeholders in October. And we are also finalizing a capacity building for Montenegro, which also joined recently the program, on interoperability and digitalization, especially in public services. So we'll have this capacity building on the 4th of December with Montenegro. I am saying this as you can imagine, in the current programming period, we want to organize these capacity building events dedicating to the new partner states, as all the states are candidates for EU membership. We want to support them. The program Interreg Europe wants to support them by enabling them also to benefit from the wealth of knowledge, the treasure, as Magda was saying, available from the past, but also the current projects. And in this context, we can identify the most pressing issues, the most relevant challenges that you would like to tackle to strengthen both personal but also institutional capacities, and also learn from your experiences as well, which can feed the community of Interreg Europe practitioners. So here you have a QR code for a survey where we would like to let us, we would like you to let us know about interest for a capacity building event or for Ukrainian public authorities. So if you have time to scan the QR code, it will be open until the 1st of September, if I'm correct. You can fill in and let us know about the objectives or the priorities you would like to be tackled through a capacity building event, which will take place later in the coming months. Based on your feedbacks, we will get back to Jana and our colleagues to fine-tune a program, and of course inform you in due time about the event so that you can also register and plan your arrangements to join the capacity building. So I'm still sharing it for a few more seconds if you have time. If not, do not worry. Also, we'll share again the link after this meeting in a more in a broader email. So you'll have time until 1st of September to fill it in. And I will now also move to the very last slide from my side about the upcoming activities, but also where you can find our resources. So if you want to know more about the peer review, which was presented by Antoine in details, we also have a publication where you can find some more examples, stories of hosts of these peer reviews who are sharing their insights on the process, but also on what they gained through the peer review, what they learned, but also what the peers learn. This is important, and Antoine was mentioning it. There is a knowledge for both parties, both the hosts, but also the peers. On the policy learning platform, indeed, you can also find out more about all the services and resources that were mentioned. And finally, feel free to subscribe to the newsletter so you can get information about the latest trends, latest events, publications from Interreg Europe program. I will also conclude by saying that there will be a short survey popping up at the end of the event to have a webinar, which is already actually on the screen. So please answer this, so we'll also know how best to adjust our online events so that we can best answer to your needs. So thank you again to everyone for attending. I don't know if there are some last questions. I don't see the chat currently, but I will maybe stop sharing my screen. And again, thank you on my side and on behalf of the colleagues.
Thank you so much, dear colleagues from Interreg Europe team, for this useful information and for our partners, for your tips. It is very useful. Дякую також нашим учасникам, що були активні, задавали ваші запитання. Дякую теж команді секретаріату Кабінету міністрів за допомогу, за підтримку і за організацію цього заходу. І підбиваючи підсумки, хочу сказати, що ця програма дійсно дуже важлива та корисна для тих, хто формує політику. Ми вже маємо, Україна вже має дуже гарні результати участі у програмі. Як зазначив Крістапс, ми маємо 51 проект, який реалізується, та 56 українських партнерів. На жаль, в цьому програмному періоді конкурси не відбудуться, тому що весь бюджет вже вибраний, можна так сказати. Але є ще багато можливостей, які можна використовувати зараз українським партнерам. Зокрема, це платформа з вивчення політики. Ви почули дуже багато цікавого. Ви можете користуватися і публікаціями, і семінарами, і різноманітними зустрічами. І що теж важливо, це опитування. Будь ласка, візьміть участь в цьому опитуванні. Ми його поширимо теж у себе на сторінці департаменту. І там ви можете обрати ті пріоритети, які будуть для вас цікавими в рамках програми, щоб потім організувати вже такий захід для підвищення спроможності українських учасників. Я хочу ще раз продублювати у чаті, якщо в мене зараз вийде, так, свої контакти нашої сторінки, де ми теж поділимося записом цього семінару, щоб ви могли теж переглянути його пізніше. Або хто не встиг переглянути, не встиг приєднатися. Дуже всім дякую. Гарного всім дня. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Bye
much.
bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.